what's your plan at punt returner?
Well, we have a plan, there's a number of guys who've been working on that during the preseason. We feel quite good about our plan. I will say that I think they say imitation's the greatest form of flattery. Well, I think in this business, so is getting your players poached off the waiver wire, and that happened. And Simba Webster is a guy who does do that, and also had some value as a receiver in special teams. We've got a plan there, and I'll leave that to Kyle to kind of announce, who it is and what it is and the depth there and all that when he chooses to. But we've thought about that a lot. That's important to us. We want to make that an asset for this team, and I feel very strongly about it.
John, when it comes to Jalen Hurts making the roster yesterday, how much of that was based on what you saw last week in practices and games, but how much more is it still just projection with Jalen?
I think there's some level of projection. I think a couple of situations, his probably being a little different than Jaquiski Tart because Tart's played for us before. Jalen has some special skills, some unique skills, and has a variety of them. He's got a lot of versatility to his game. He knows it. We know it. You have to show that you can be dependable, that you can be out there. Do we feel 100% ironclad that, hey, he's proven that he's that in the short amount of time that he's been out there? No. But we feel like, the talent that he brings, and, it's not just talent. He also brings a physicality and attitude that he plays with that I believe is really contagious to our team. And so, again, you have backup plans for everything, but we want to enter this year with Jalen there, and we'll see how that goes.
John, how much does the expanded practice squad being back and the different rules and all that maybe influence the way you build out your roster, and how much do you take that into account when doing it?
Yeah, well, first, Nick, I want to, just make I hope that we keep this moving forward. I've always believed that the rosters, particularly moving to a 17-game season, concussion protocols and things that are good, that are positive, but I think we should also make the requisite changes in our roster to reflect those realities. And so I think that's a step towards it, because as I tell our guys who are on our practice squad, it's really an extension of our 53-man roster. We really look at it as a 69-man roster. This year, 70, because we've got Alfredo, and we're fired up to have him. And he's a legit player, and he's a guy we're excited about working with. So how does it affect it certainly does. I think you can, first of all, when it just comes to the practice squad, typically you had to be a team that either emphasized true developmental players that may have a ways to go, or guys kind of in the bullpen ready to go if called upon right away. I think now you can achieve both, and that's what we've tried to do with our practice squad. It's still in the process of being built out, but we like what we have right now, and we feel like it continue to get a little stronger here in the next couple days.
What did you see from? Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, thanks. That's very proud of you, Matthew. Thanks. What is the injury with Devante Harris? And did that, just as far as the timing, did that happen very, very recently? Why was he initially signed in IR today?
Yeah, Devante tweaked his hamstring about, when was that? About 10 days ago. Was coming back and ramping it up and retweaked it. And so we have officially, put him on IR. That gives him the ability. It makes him eligible to return after 3 games, and we'll monitor that. Devante did a nice job in a short amount of time of impressing us. I think he has depth at the cornerback position. He's also a very talented special teams player, and he showed that in a very short window. But he's also shown that throughout his time in the league. So we'll put him on the injured reserve. He's working hard to get back and get healthy, and then we can make a decision. And he'll be eligible for return after 3 games if we make him as such.
John, can you kind of discuss the backup safety position? You guys keep Tavon Wilson, Wave, Hawk, and Dix. Did you guys did you try to get Quentin Dix back on the practice squad? What's kind of the situation there at the backup spots?
Yeah, that was a tough call because we really we were hopeful all along that Bosky would come back, but the circumstances dictated that it happened much later than we wanted it to give us clarity, Tart got out and showed well, and we've got some comfort, some institutional knowledge with Jaquaski, know who he is and what he brings to the table. Having said that, Tavon and HaHa both brought, I think, a really cool veteran presence. I always think it's a good thing to mix youth, a kid like Hufanga, with some veteran savvy, and I think Tavon and HaHa both provided that. Tavon has been here throughout the off season. Tavon's a really good special teams player. He also has versatility at both strong and free. HaHa came in late, but really, I think, showed himself in a great fashion, and really, tell you, he's a popular player in this locker room. So we're still in conversations with HaHa about joining our practice squad and see where that goes. But that was definitely a tough decision because I think he put his best foot forward. I think played at a high level to make it a tough decision, but we just felt comfortable with the way we did it, and we're hopeful that he joins us again.
Can you explain why you
John,
decided?
As far as Michael Pruitt, you guys guaranteed him a fairly decent amount of money, and it seemed like he could make the guy Lolo for that fourth blocking tight end. That didn't work out. What sort of happened there, and why didn't that work out?
Yeah, I think there's just dynamics to your roster, and that's always a decision. We kind of let that kind of work itself out. I think the way it worked out, I think what hurt Mike Cole is he had that calf injury, and so he never really got an opportunity to show what he could do for us. And when he did, I think he was still getting his legs underneath him. At that time, we made a decision. Probably when you go heavy at other positions, you got to pull from somewhere, and we do keep a fullback. And so while we have kept 4 tight ends before, we just felt it was in our best interest to keep 3 on our roster. And Mike Cole had some opportunities elsewhere, as we thought he might. So that sometimes that happens, and we're pulling for him to have a quality year wherever he ends up.
Can you explain what Tom Compton showed you to keep him over someone younger, such as McKivitz?
Yeah, well, fortunately, we got the best of both worlds there, Grant. I think Tom, first of all, I think his second year with us, I think showed a lot better in camp. Showed his versatility. He's a guy who can play guard and tackle, and he can play really all the positions. And so. We felt Tom had a good camp and earned the right, and Colton is a player we're still extremely interested in working with. Got a lot in his body. We just kind of have to unleash it, and I think the practice squad's a perfect vehicle to do that. So fortunately it worked out for us, and we've got both of them there, and we're happy about that.
John, there was a report of
at 2 o'clock.
John, there was a report of 2 guys being signed to or agreeing to terms to your practice squad, Tanner Hudson and D. Virgin. Can you corroborate that? And if so, what kind of stood out with both of those guys to you?
Yeah, not signed as yet. They're agreed and traveling in and have to get physicals. But we honestly didn't plan on Jordan Matthews is on our practice squad. We didn't plan on another tight end being a part of that, but had some discussions with Tanner. He's a guy we've had our eye on for a while. I think there was a lot of conjecture that he would make Tampa's 53. When he didn't, we took a shot at it, and we're able to get him to come with us. So we're excited about that. And then with D. Virgin, D's just a guy who's played and has played at corner nickel, inside, outside, and then also is a very good special teams player, and wanted to add him to our practice squad. We're thrilled to, pending their physicals, have both those guys with us.
A bit of a housekeeping question, but with Richie James, I know he was waived injured last week. Sometimes, or usually, those guys, if they don't get claimed, revert to IR. It doesn't look like, at least on the wire, that has happened yet. Can you just clarify what his status is with the team right now?
Yeah, he is on IR. I don't know if that's become official, but he certainly will go there. You're right, after not having been claimed, and he's having some surgical procedure on his knee, and will be a certain amount of time. So we'll see where that goes based on the reports after the surgery. But he is on IR.
And then just to follow up on that, John, just to follow up on, is he completely out for the season, or is there a procedure by which he can somehow come back late in the year?
I think that remains to be seen, and they're still working through all those details. He has not had the surgery as of yet. So right now he's on the injured reserve, and we're still kind of tuning in. We'll let you know when we know, kind of.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
John, is there any change in Trey Lance's prognosis? Is it still looking like he could come back and practice on Monday?
Yeah, I think it's trending in the right direction. Some of the swelling's coming down, and Monday is kind of the optimistic look at it. And I can promise you this: we'll do right by Trey, and have him in a good place, before he's back out there. But we certainly would love to have him available on Monday, and we'll just make sure that he can. I can promise this with Trey as well. He does everything he can, and to get well, and he's working hard at that right now.
We'll do one more for John.
Compared to the group that you had in 2017, the wide receivers are approximately 3.5 inches taller as a whole than they were back then. I know you always go for players that can actually play, but is also kind of gaining size on the wide receiver group one of the things that you looked for when you were going through the whole process?
I think you always evolve as a group, and you kind of learn together, and I do think that something right now in football, being a powerful player at whatever position is really important, and I just think at receiver, there's a trend in the league, despite all the rules, when can you do your work because of the 5-yard rule where you can have contact. Everybody tries to get really physical within those 5 yards, and so you better have the strength necessary to pull away from people. And we probably focused on separators early on, but if they don't have that requisite power, that's difficult. And that's just, there's trends that change in the game, and I think we try to adapt. Now, having said that, we still love, I think now what we love is strong, physical, powerful players who can also separate. And so that's what we've tried to achieve. And I know a lot's been said about this group, but I really like what this group can become. They have to go do it, but I think we can play a lot of different styles with this group. We can play bully ball and get after you, but these guys are also guys who can there's speed in there. I think there's also playmakers in there. So I like the versatility of the group, and I'm excited about where we are heading into to the season.
All right. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody.